Um, yeah, we have had those notification, guys. So please bear in mind that after this workshop, the sessions, all of our sessions, what we designed for this 3 webinar series, the recordings will be shared with everyone who register for the session. So if you cannot stay with us for all 60 minutes designed time slot, or for example, you cannot join us, or anybody of your peers, colleagues cannot join us, just advise that they can register themselves and then they will receive the follow-up message with links and materials, because we will be also sharing some useful links, useful informations, which was and is our join standards after our session.
Absolutely.
So
Now,
welcome back.
Welcome back. Hello, hello, once again. Welcome back to the Kirill and Bartek series of talks, our old tradition that we are now resuming after roughly a year-long pause. In the previous series, we talked about all different things that Bartek and I are very passionate about: data analysis and metrics, academic rankings, university management, and many other things. But this year, we are talking about probably the hottest topic, though arguable, because I will bring up another topic later today. The hottest one. Everyone is crazy about AI, generative AI, and how it is transforming, I would say, every walk of life, whether you are an academic, whether you are whoever else. I cannot think of a single intellectual profession that is not affected by the explosive growth of Gen AI powered technologies. Okay, let us maybe walk through the agenda for today, Bartek.
Yeah, exactly. So we are glad that we're back, and we are glad that you join us. This is something what I'm echo Kirill here. But today we spoke a lot before, Kirill, how to design this session. And first thing what we have to bring to you guys is based on our legacy, as Kirill mentioned, data analysis, people metrics, and management aspects of the universities. They are highly correlated with numbers. So still we bring some numbers to you, even if we don't talking directly about it. But also we would like to talk what Kirill a little bit mentioned in the very beginning, the revolution. We call it in the revolution because it's changed a lot of areas or academic world and academic institutions itself as well. Because this is in teaching, this is in research. We sometimes need to change a little bit. We need to change the perception when we are a teacher and we are delivering some knowledge to our students. Or if we are tutor, we need to be, let's say, very aligned with our students, bachelor or master degrees, that when we are helping them, because they are so surrounded by many of available solutions and services using AI, but sometimes it could be better for them. Sometimes it could be very bad situation based on experience, what I can say. So something what we have in our discussion is the question, time wasting. We both in 21st century, we have a smartphone, smartwatches, whatever, smart assistants. And what we observe together that we have less and less time, which is really problematic. So we said, yeah, it's time for empowering here. Yeah, this is not like time wasting, because sometimes we see each other. Okay, I was doing something for a day, but now when, for example, I imagine my working on a code in the past with Gen AI, it's changed a lot. So yeah, time savings is everywhere, and even here in research and academic world, we can imagine. Of course, what is under the hood? Because you can be excited about Gen AI, but sometimes you would like to understand better how it works, what is behind it, how you can validate the responses, the messages, what the generative AI is delivering. And here we would like to talk in a very general way what we have under the hood. Then, of course, we cannot leave without showing you anything live. So we would like to show you a little bit, probably, because I believe that everyone wants to test by individually those things in future, but we would like to share how we see it, how we, for example, using it in our day-by-day job or research job, what we have sometimes, or how we are working with our users, with our customers to help them utilize those kind of solutions. At the end, Q&A usually short because in this session we design special time slot with for Q&A when we will be sharing some use cases and of course summary and some future oriented slides. Uh, Before I will give a space for Kirill, just answering once again to Jan's questions, what is in chat. Yes, all webinars will be recorded and available to everyone. So now it's time for something what Kirill designed. So it's the poll.
Thank you, Bartek. Before we proceed to the poll, ladies and gentlemen, let me once again encourage you to introduce yourselves. First of all, we are very curious to see where you are connecting to this webinar from, your home country, your city, your university, what you do. Please feel free to introduce yourselves. By the way, greetings from Warsaw and Budapest, where Bartek and I are respectively located now. Now, we would like to kick off this webinar with understanding better your feelings and your attitudes towards the AI revolution and academia, and then we will put those findings side by side with the surveys that our colleagues with Elsevier and in European University Association have recently conducted. Now, let me launch the poll. Please answer the 4 questions that are going to appear on your screen. I think
It's visible.
it should be visible now.
I can confirm. Just in case, in the meantime, when you will be putting your answers to the poll, I would like to highlight that in the second week of May, me and Kirill, together with our distinguished colleagues from Elsevier, will be participating on site in the HE event in Budapest. So if anybody of you is planning to join or joining to this event, do not hesitate. We can meet in person and discuss any topic what you would like to talk with us. We will be there for the all 3 days. Additionally, our colleagues from London will have a workshop session. Everything is in agenda, so I encourage you to visit the Times Higher Education website and, of course, join us and meet with us on site and shake a hand. It's always better than online.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. In these times, I value every in-person meeting more than ever. Okay, let us maybe wait for another 10 seconds or so. I see responses still coming. And okay, one more. So let me finish the poll at this point.
Do we see a result?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Just a
Okay.
second. I think they must be visible on your screens now.
Okay.
So, Bartek, may I ask you to proceed to the next slides, and we will compare the attitudes of our esteemed audience with the findings that our Elsevier analysts have shared in the recent survey, survey report, rather. So, astoundingly close numbers between the beliefs about AI freeing up time for doing meaningful work, for doing higher value work. I would say our esteemed audience, you ladies and gentlemen, are even more optimistic than the audience that took part in Elsevier's survey a few months ago. Now, for the second statement, AI will improve the quality of uh, academics' work. Uh, Surprisingly, but I think also justifiably, the attitudes of you, ladies and gentlemen, are more divided and I would say contrasting with the optimistic findings of the Elsevier report. Although around two-thirds of you agree that or believe rather that AI will improve the quality of academic work, a quarter are quite skeptical about it, and for a good reason, because AI has given tools not only to honest, uh, truly committed researchers, but also to those who only imitate academic work. So it is only fair that we have this division between optimism and skepticism. I would say, even if you ask me, I would give those opposing answers depending on what institution you ask me, or what subject field, or uh, some other context. Now, statement three, AI will help accelerate knowledge discovery. Uh, the vast majority, 94% of our audience, Bartek, and 95% of the audience globally, surveyed by our esteemed colleagues, agree that acceleration is in place. So even though the opinions on quality might be divided, the speed in there. So it's acceleration, but maybe at the expense of quality. Again, it's opinions. We'll see in the nearest future how things are in reality. And now, statement number four. In this case, we are moving from the survey by Elsevier to the study by the team at European University Association, who surveyed their member institutions, almost 1,000 universities and higher education institutions all around Europe, about the preparedness of their respective institution to the introduction of Gen AI powered technology in academic workflows. Uh, uh, in the study, first, only 14% of the respondents shared that their institutions were at the point fully equipped for the introduction of AI or adoption of AI, meaning that they had the necessary policies in place. And around a third said that their institutions were partly ready. This study was done last year, so since then, I believe the more institutions all around Europe had become prepared, but we should bear in mind that this is a small fraction of mostly outstanding high-performing institutions in Europe, in mostly developed countries. So we have both a lag of data, and we have some bias towards uh, top performing institutions. If we look at our audience's opinions, you, ladies and gentlemen, are mostly saying that your institutions are somewhat equipped. So there are some policies in place, and that means that although there are some guidelines towards some basic principles of the use of AI, there is a lot of space for individual academics, leaders, deans, research group coordinators, students, librarians, and everyone else to figure out by themselves how Gen AI may or may not fit into their workflows, how it can effectivize their work, and so on. So we can see that there is some positive dynamics, but surprisingly, the fully equipped percentage is precise in both of our surveys today, right here and now, and in the EUA study. Bartek, do you have anything that attracts your attention you would like to share about these data, these numbers?
I would say I'm not so surprised that the people are ready or currently using something or have experience with some policy making at their inside their institutions. Especially, I have a comment to it. It's like I think it's a good momentum. It's good momentum to start sharing good good practice and good experience. I have back my mind couple of examples of Central Eastern European universities from private sector and from the public one, which implement those policies in the very beginning, creating it, of course, still actively evaluating them, creating a teams responsible for doing it, and they have kind of advantage when they are teachers working with students. Some of lectures, including our workshops, including already how to use some of these tools, some of these services. For example, using responsibly according to diploma preparation for bachelor or for master students, especially that in the very beginning, some of my academic peers, also teachers, reports to me that there is a big problem with the writing things, that everything is generated by the Gen AI. It's a madness. So how to evaluate students? They need to evaluate, they need to reevaluate their approach. And it was something that they need to reevaluate the course curriculum sometimes. That the another approach at the end of the course will be to evaluate the outcomes of the sharing knowledge and teaching students. So there is definitely the space, there is definitely some champions, let's call them champions probably. And there's definitely the good practices. I know that we know both, and we probably agree together, all of us, that in our countries, in our region, there are also some regulations are placed on the country level, and some of those regulations are very crucial to be in place by the institutions. But when we're going through the individuals, our colleagues went through over 3,000 professionals, managers of universities, academic people, and discuss with them how they feel it, especially around the world, about those things. Let me back a slide to those numbers that you can compare it. This is something what is definitely in the beginning, but as we call it revolution, it means that there are no possibility to come back. In my opinion,
Hmm.
there will be more and more. We probably will be surrounded by it, like we have been surrounded in the past by the search engines in the browsers. And this is something what will definitely change. Probably some of you already notice when using, for example, Google, then you have some insights based on the AI regarding your question, your query. So this is what is already in place in many services what we are using from the very beginning. And I hope what we believe, me and Kirill, that the transparency, especially in the research aspect and in teaching world, is something crucial and very important that we are able, when we promoting something to you, when you are promoting something to your students, to your colleagues, to your peers, this is something what you can trust in.
All right. Well, I think that was a brilliant sum up and insight into the next points we are going to
Yeah.
make. Let me close the poll result. window.
Yeah.
And now,
But if I may, Kirill, because
sure.
following those results, I have feeling that there are definitely risks. We agree both that risks are everywhere, but the question is how especially to mitigate those risks in our world. Yeah,
Hmm?
we are
So,
deep diving librarians and researchers. So yeah, go ahead, man.
with change come opportunities, and with change come risks. Now, according to our studies of last year, 76% of researchers do use AI, Gen AI technology as an a reading aid tool. Uh, I would say this number is probably outdated or underestimating the reality. My personal feeling would be closer to 99%, but maybe maybe the reality is different. Anyhow, it's obvious that the majority of academics do use AI for reading. Now, when the Gen AI technology 2 years ago became a major part of our lives. It was mostly ChatGPT was like a thermos or a Jeep or a Xerox when the brand name became the term to be used in reference to the technology. Mm, it appeared that the generic tool, the general purpose tool like ChatGPT and similar interfaces, would not be essentially the very right tool for doing something as demanding as high quality academic research. Uh, the two major risks that come with that, I would say, maybe even three. Let me focus on the most important things because I could, off top of my head, think of 10 more. First of all, is transparency. When you enter a prompt into any general purpose tool, it would typically give you an answer depending on how well you are at prompt engineering, more or less detailed, more or less reliable, helpful, etc. But it won't ever be possible to track the initial sources these statements are based on. And additionally, you won't be sure whether your tool hallucinates or not. So you will have to do some parallel check, but you won't have the source to put side by side with the outcome you've got to make sure that the statements generated by your AI tool are trustworthy and come from a reliable source. So this is number one. Number two is very closely connected to the transparency issue. It is the source data that the that a typical general purpose tool is based on, whether it is an OpenAI machine or any other provider. They are putting into the training data set as much text data they can legally put their hands on. Those would be books, those would be web posts and blogs and comments, those would be legal documents, those would be scripts of YouTube videos, and many, many other things. The problem is that of that vast variety of text data, only a tiny fracture would be academic papers, and even a smaller part of those would come from high quality sources. And the third point is more of a regulatory nature, but is of no less importance, particularly if we're talking about research of global importance. It is how legal it is to use some data to feed to an AI tool to produce some summaries or other outcome. It is not always obvious whether a user is legally allowed to do that workflow and then use the outputs of a generic tool for the research. And in this regard, I believe the library, the university library, that is traditionally responsible both for academic information, resources, maintenance, and sharing and promoting information literacy within the faculty and research staff and students would adopt a transformative role, or is already adopting a transformative role in this revolutionary process when Gen AI can potentially take on a lot of the most challenging bits of the research workflow to make it more efficient and let researchers, lecturers, students, decision makers, and academic leaders focus on what is meaningful instead of spending time on what is tedious. So, Bartek, may I ask you to dive a bit deeper into the workflow and how Gen AI can be embedded in particular components of it?
Thanks, Kirill. Yeah, this is the risk mitigation. Nice that you mentioned this concept that, yeah, everybody, if guys, trust me, if somebody asking me where I can find information or who can help me in my ecosystem, my institutional ecosystem, I'm saying similar with Kirill. Guys, librarians, they are champions of knowledge in this topic. So you can be guys sure that we are always see, Phil, and collaborating with you in this case, especially Kirill pointing here, very important point, which is a license violation, because to be honest, there is hundreds of licenses sometimes in place, and there is a very different points. And I can imagine that the research students, they are not so they don't have enough time to read it, but I hope that maybe AI will save this time a little bit. I will talk later. Of course, Kirill is taking the opportunity that I'm active researcher as well. So research workflow is something very native. I will jump to it based on the concept what we have here. It's like when we are doing research, we have a lot of tasks. Sometimes these tasks are very boring, sometimes very time consuming. But when we start from the very beginning discussion, sometimes we just discuss, okay, how to find the collaborators. And here definitely you can use a lot of tools, not only generative AI tools, but also tools which can help you with find right collaborators based on MOUs of your universities. I saw a couple examples of assistants for researchers, AI assistants inside the campuses, which were helping, especially based on the strategy of the university, with which colleagues, like from European University Initiative members, collaborate and what kind of topics, research topics, are there, let's say, preferable or areas what they are investigating for. Uh, Additionally, is securing the funding. This is something what is the biggest time momentum when we need to invest a lot of our daily work and to prepare the proposal, to work on the proposal, then of course awaiting. I'm excited to be awarded, and then of course starting this real research what we have designed the proposal. But there are still more. Where to publish, writing, comparing the insight, especially if I have back my mind is around over 5 million new peer review publication is coming every year to the whole pot globally. So there is no chance, in my opinion, that I can track everything. I can track part of them. Of course, I can use many features like in Scopus, in other databases, features which will inform me that okay, new paper in this topic or in this field is coming. Maybe you should read it or you would like to. But there is still time is the denominator of time is really problematic. Of course, we can multiplicate here those tasks and put it much more. But we try based on these couple elements design three different phases. Of course, first phase is the momentum when we are building our strategy and we are doing a conceptualization of our idea, what we exactly would like to measure with whom, who is the right collaborator, or how these collaborations will support us in our visibility, institutional or individual, depends on our personal goals. Second momentum or second phase in our perspective is the moment where you are starting reading, collecting papers, collecting references, checking what's going on in this particular area. Maybe there are collaborators at my own university, maybe just a neighbor university is doing something on it, so we can reinforce our efforts in this point. But of course, we trying to find and design this study what we are doing. And the last, but of course not least, the most important in my opinion is the momentum when we are doing our experiments. Where if we are applied, or maybe we are economics, so we need to observe some numbers from the monetary system. And of course, we are doing our organic work when we are writing the article, then trying to publish, so participating in the peer review process, and then of course sharing those output, those research according to peers, according to evaluation schemas and everything where these we are obliged by our universities. Of course, today we mainly would like to aim on the middle phase of the process what we designed, because something what we would like to introduce to you based on our today's study is science direct AI. And Kirill, yeah, we I mentioned about it in the beginning. Time. What do you feel about time? Do you have enough time for everything?
I think that's a rhetorical question, Bartek. To the answer to which is always no, 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 no. No one of us has time for anything. We have to prioritize, and uh, so we could think of all the possible ways to find uh, to find tools or workflows, ways to save up time and focus on the more important things. But in our context, we are trying to figure out what Gen AI can bring to the table. What would be number one change in the typical researcher's workflow that would make it better in terms of, again, focusing on what is meaningful. Now, according to a few studies from the United States, from Australia, and Great Britain, mm, on average, it will be more than a third of the work time of a typical researcher spent on reading literature. And to my mind, it's uh, not that every paper needs to be read from cover to cover. Sometimes, I don't know, some papers are so brilliant that they are as enjoyable and worthwhile as, I don't know, reading some classical novel or poetry, or they could be a true inspiration for an early career researcher. That's like how, for instance, I was inspired for my network analysis research. When you read a truly brilliant paper and you want to follow suit, it's truly exemplary. But for most of the papers, it's them being a vehicle to deliver the academic knowledge to the right person, to let them extract that tiny bit, that finding or that tool or that concept to embed in the next step and slowly build up the academic knowledge. That's how it works. With Gen AI, instead of skimming through the entire paper or loads of papers, we are able already to skip those two most tedious stages. First, looking through endless search results to find the right paper that speaks to our interests or research question. And second, looking for that small part in our paper, whether we are interested in the methodology or in the findings or in the data collected or something else, just finding the right spot, taking it, checking whether the AI tool has truly found what we need and understood it properly, and then proceeding to the next paper. And if we can make it part of our uh, workflow, then potentially 1/3 of our time would free up for doing more meaningful things and let us do better research and do amazing discoveries. Bartek, I know that academic part of your life is I guess, as important as information resources champion that you are. So what is your feeling about saving up time with GenAI tools? Is it already working like that, or is it better?
This is a very, very good question, Kirill. For myself, more time for me is more time for thinking what I can do better or different. This is my personal perspective with GenAI. But I will share my experience with some of my peers, especially with colleagues who are tutor for bachelor and master students. And he said that this acceleration helps students to finish those PhDs on time, even if in the past they facing like some of delays in the process. Now the situation was more simple, especially during summarizing some things. Even if they give some accesses to the students can check by themselves and have ready to use set of articles to read about the methods crucial for the particular research or crucial for a particular topic, compare those methods really quickly. They do not spend a lot of time to retrieving old articles, which is not, let's say, very relevant for the current use. But they were able to aim on their research, finish everything quicker. I hope better because I'm not a tutor, so it's very difficult to be a judge here. But if they defend their diplomas, it means that it was everything according to the process and was accepted from the scientific point of view as well. So yeah, this is like different levels. My personal, or even from teaching and research area, I can imagine that there are a lot of time-consuming administrative things sometimes we are facing as a researchers or teachers. But here, if we will be using responsibilities and in a smart way, I hope and I did believe that it helps us to offering a better courses, a better programs, and teaching people in a very, very appropriate with the current availabilities if we're talking about technologies. So this is my point of view. And based on it, if we're talking about the responsibility, I would like to jump very quickly to one important point. What we have. This is like a group of very very different areas, but everything is connected with this responsibility of artificial intelligence. So as you can see, we design also our AI principles, what are listed here, but as well, bear in mind, and I believe Kirill agree with me, if we're talking about AI with Elsevier or fed by Elsevier, we're talking about growing family right now. You may have about Scopus AI, now you can have about Science Direct AI. Then there are Clinical Key AI and any other many products what I believe is coming in the future, which will be supporting you, and this technology will be embedded because this is something what could work on our end, means our
Yeah.
researchers and the community what we serve, and we are delivering our products. And of course, finally, we are not doing it ourselves. We just working with you. Any comments to this point, Kirill, from your side? Or I can jump
Uh,
to the next
uh,
topic.
just two quick points. Well, first of all, it would be truly a shame if we as an IT company wouldn't try to embed some AI bits into every product of ours, which are currently doing. Bartek, you mentioned Scopus AI, the huge solution that we'll later put side by side with Science Direct as a complementary to clinical key AI, which I don't have enough background knowledge and medical training to truly appreciate, but it's brilliant. As an analyst, I think you would agree with me that the AI-powered bit in SciVal that makes those topics clearer to understand with their definitions and their titles is truly amazing. And one of the recent releases, the Engineering Village uh, limited trial AI, again, is another example of how this technology can be brought into the specific workflows in a particular subject area to make it more efficient. And the second point is transparency. It's making the user understand where the output of the AI system comes from and helping them be uh, accountable and hold the AI tool accountable for the delivered results.
I changed a little bit the slide because you're talking about something what is for us really important and what is a part of under the hood. So in this case, you mentioned transparency, which is one of the goal when we getting the results and we are researchers, we would like to have this possibility to check, is it right or is it wrong? Am I
Yeah,
right, Kirill?
absolutely. Another term that I believe you, ladies and gentlemen, could come across many times on the net when talking about these AI tools that are more transparent as to the process of the knowledge delivery is explainable AI. So essentially, Science Direct AI that we'll demonstrate today, or Scopus AI and other AI-powered tools are following that framework. They are explainable AI tools because you can track to a certain level where the delivered knowledge comes from. Another point I believe that is truly important is uh, how the existing technology, the features that are currently embedded in Science Direct were coined. It's not something that our product colleagues came up arbitrarily. It's something that came from actually you, ladies and gentlemen, the academia, the academics, with whom we've worked very closely to first come up with the required features and then run multiple tests, trials, alpha, beta testing to fine-tune it, to make it useful to the everyday academic work. It's input from 30,000
Yeah,
researchers all
it's
over the
pretty strong
world
numbers,
who've
guys. It's
been
pretty strong numbers.
who've been using the tool during different test phases.
I would say this is our common standard that we testing it with our end users,
Mhm.
because this is if we will come with something that we know the best, this is the wrong tool in my private opinion. But here we can discuss together how we can design in the best way, because we know that when you observe the users and the numbers of users, especially on ScienceDirect.com, it's one of the highest global usage in this kind of platform, which is, in my opinion, very useful and serving very nice. But still, I believe that there is a plenty elements to improve and deliver in a better way. So definitely, this is something what we are aiming. Okay, we were under the hood, and the last thing what I would like to share from the hood side is what you can expect from these science like AI solutions what we today introduce. So first of all, is completely different search. It's not like keywords, but you can use natural language. Even I would say you will see that you can use your own language to ask the questions. So I mentioned that this is a real powerful game changer for students and teaching aspect. You're getting the very precise citations according to the results, what is generating. But of course, you have some two additional layers, which is a comparing experiments. Probably many of you, ladies and gentlemen, remember when you are doing your PhD or doing your research, you're building a table when you are comparing articles, methods, used equipment, and the results in Excel, sometimes in an old stylish in the Word file. I saw a couple of these examples, but here we would like to show you today how you can do it really quickly. And the last but not least is a reading assistant. Reading assistant, it's something what is definitely gonna help everyone from starting student bachelor program to the senior researcher to divide and prove yourself that is it something what I should deep dive in this article and read it completely from side to side, or is it something what I can just partially check and maybe take some of these elements what have been used by the author.
Mhm.
So
So,
Kirill, live, it's time to jump live.
yes, it's absolutely time to show these features.
I'm stop sharing right now and giving you a floor for sharing your screen.
Thank you very
If you have,
much.
guys, just remind you, if you have any questions, please drop your questions during the Q&A feature or into the cheat sheet if we will consume a time because unfortunately me and Kirill, we are really talkative guys. So
Mhm.
we will come back to you via emails.
Mhm.
Sorry for that, but I hope it's something valuable for you and we believe in it.
Yeah.
Kirill, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Bartek. So, ladies and gentlemen, I was thinking about what kind of an example uh, to, to to use for the demonstration today. And I thought, well, the most obvious approach is doing some literature search about AI research. Like this is the hottest topic, and therefore our series of webinars of Bartek and mine are dedicated to AI and academia. I was thinking, what can be more important globally for mankind than this revolution that AI brings to our everyday lives, our careers, etc. Something as recent and as impactful, and maybe even more impactful. So I was thinking, well, uh, what if we think beyond planet Earth? What has happened recently that could be as transformative and mind-opening as the advances in AI technology. And well, you might have heard of the fantastic news of a couple of weeks ago when one of the telescopes, I think it was Hubble, but it might be a different one, discovered some organic chemicals in the atmosphere of a remote Earth-like planet. They call it a sub-Neptune planet, so it's bigger than Earth but smaller than Neptune. Those chemicals are very likely associated with the presence of some life forms because they are unlikely to be formed by just random chemical reactions. So I was thinking, okay, I'm not a cosmologist or an astronomer or astrophysicist, by no means. So I would like to understand this, let's say, the importance and validity of these news, but coming from the top quality academic sources that Science Direct has at our disposal. So the planet's name is K1218b with the K2, sorry, 18b. K2 is the name of the star, 18b is the name of the planet. It's around 40 light years away from us. So we cannot fly to it. We probably won't be ever, but we can observe in much detail what is going on in that star system. And as you can see, there are truly reasons to believe that those organic compounds, organic chemicals present in the atmosphere of that planet uh, have good chances of coming from an extraterrestrial life form. And you can see that these findings were building up from just a few years ago. The earliest papers in this summary coming from 2021, exploring the habitability factors, atmospheric factors, and so on. And the most recent papers have not yet become the the training pool of the papers available in Science Direct AI. So I don't know about you, but I will be following on the recent publications on this topic because this is truly amazing. But you can see that how easily different sources of data, different factors are conceptualized here and presented in a vivid form. So even I, not an astronomer or astrophysicist by any means, can easily understand how valid those discoveries are. Bartek, uh,
Yes, sir.
this is not my area of expertise, but this is something that I have recently become truly passionate about. But let us now do another demonstration, and this time focusing on your interests.
Okay, so let's switch to my screen then. Thank you. So yeah, completely different approach to the same tool, the same service as Science Direct AI. I will be coming from a very simple use case. Let's imagine, actually, I'm not teaching in the archaeology, but I'm an archaeologist from one of my education. And when I'm proposing the curriculum to my students, I'm usually adding them references, what I'm encouraging them to read, to go through, to check something, to discuss during the meetings, our meetings. But I can imagine the situation that someone also is doing it in the context of archaeology, and then we have this encyclopedia reference works, which is what we can call fundamental for the bachelor or sometimes for the master students. And then I can imagine a student who is approaching to it and would like to work with it. So we have a couple volumes. I will start with from very beginning, which is the fundamental part of this encyclopedia. As you see that this is a regular page as we can meet in Science Direct. Of course, here we can also access to PDFs. We can also access to some chapters of this book. I will select Global Theories of Archaeology by Arkadiusz Marciniak from Adam Mickiewicz University in Poznań. We can PDF, we can use PDF, but I will go through the Science Direct platform. Standard article, but what is new, what is completely different according to Science Direct AI is on the right-hand side, the reading assistant. So, of course, I can go through the regular article. I can read everything what is here about NF methods, about everything what's going in the past, what kind of theories had been shared according to it. But if I don't have the time, I can try to summarize this article. I don't need to download anything. I don't need to upload any PDF. I just have my license, my university giving me the access to this particular source, and then I can, of course, follow. Of course, this is something what I get in English. Let's imagine I'm bachelor student, so I can read what's going on here, but also you can see some references here. Okay, when I click on it, you will see that this is the base, what was a source for those kind of text, what has been here generated by AI. What is also very crucial, because sometimes this is a really begging thing. We can use, if we don't want to type, because maybe we don't know what to type, we can use a follow-up question suggested by Reading Assistant. When I'm click on it, I will select the first one very randomly. I know that the time is running. You will see that the system generates us preview of 4 global theories: evolutionism, structuralism, Marxism, and system theory, which is a very general legacy and the historical background of archaeology. But of course, what is for us here, if we would like to deep dive, we can just click and see exactly the part with the references where the author of this article, of this chapter, based in this particular. I'm not so sure that we have someone from Poland, but I would like to show you one element what we also can propose to end users. I will type in Polish. Guys, you need to trust me. I believe that Kirill trusts me also. Jakie metody zostały tutaj opisane? Very simple. You know, what kind of
methods? Which methods? My Polish
was bring in this article is very simple. What have been described, and you need to once again trust to me actually, because if you see this response, what I got is in Polish actually. So if I click on it, of course, my original text, what I have in front of me, is in English. But if I have any difficulties with asking the questions, because the right power here, in my opinion, and I believe Kirill join me in this insight, is to ask right questions to get the answer which is helping me with my research, with my diploma, with my current task, what I'm doing. And of course, I don't want to judge on the translations, but here is definitely something. If we have back our mind that we have in front bachelor student or master student, definitely he or she can build a question and get the answer in own language. So this is really, in my opinion, this is a really advantage, because sometimes still in the 21st century, I faced with my students the difficulties that not everyone was so fluent in English to read the original articles or original books in English. So this
again,
is like
it's a matter
example.
of time, right, Bartek? Even if we do speak English, it might be at some points when we're tired or just, again, we're short of time, it would be easier to work with our native language just to save another minute or another tiny bit of resource
Exactly.
in our mind.
Exactly. Mother tongue is always is preferable in many cases. Okay. As we mentioned in the very beginning, we designed 2 additional session, guys. So unfortunately, we will be not able to deep dive in all of these features, but definitely it will be more and more features and use cases from Science Direct AI from us, and not only from Science Direct AI. I will pitch something as well. But now I would like to come back to the presentation slides. I'm not sure that do we have any questions, Kirill?
So far, no. So let us,
No.
give a
Yeah.
quick look at what place Science Direct occupies in the workflow compared with another major flagship tool in our portfolio, Scopus
Yeah.
AI. And meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we do encourage you to put your questions in the chat or in the Q&A section. please don't be shy if you have any questions or comments. Uh, you know,
Just in case, we start from the research workflow, what we design in three phases. If we compare this to our legacy, my and Kirill, of course, because we are former rankers also, where Scopus was our source for metrics and the data for the rankings.
Meanwhile, Bartek, I believe there are some colleagues in the call who could
Uh-huh.
have a very vague idea of the difference between the two databases, the two tools, if we don't talk about AI yet. Maybe let us say just in a few difference what Scopus is, what Science Direct is, because I believe it's crucial to understanding the differences between the two AI machines based on the respective data. How about that?
Yeah. So Scopus AI, Scopus is abstract database, curated abstract databases. So what we can get there is abstracts. So if we're talking about Scopus AI, in very simple way, it means that this is a tool or service which based on abstracts only. And in this case, delivering the response. If we compare with Science Direct AI, it means that we have a touch with the full text peer review articles and book chapters, what we have showed with Kirill today. And this Gen AI was available to prepare their answer based on the whole text of the article, what is available for the engine. So this is the main difference in a very simple way. I believe that Kirill will add something from his perspective here, but this is the main difference. So when we try to, let's say, compare in this astronomical perspective and the laboratory perspective, if we are using Scopus, we are talking about the telescope where we are observing the whole universe.
Of course, metaphorically, it's not like
Absolutely.
Scopus is only for astronomers and
Not only, absolutely not. But we still in this convention, what you start with your Science Direct Gen AI search. And when we go to Science Direct AI, it's rather to using a microscope to looking in very detail in the whole text of the article, whole text of the chapter of book. And then, of course, coming here inside. So sometimes when we're saying that this is a complementary tools in the very beginning, it means that we have two lenses, but at the end, still we have a one vision in the process. Like we're starting to observe the bigger universe, then we are going into the deep details when we designing and doing our research. Do you agree with me?
yes, yes, Bartek. In other words, to put it, in a very general case, if I were to make a high-level decision, what to research next, in what direction to adjust my departments, my institutions, my groups, research strategy. I would first go to Scopus AI to get a more comprehensive view on what's going on in our field and in neighboring fields, observing as much of the context as possible. At the same time, if I know more or less precisely what I am interested in my if I'm working on a particular research paper or a course or a lecture, I would rather start from Science Direct AI with the excerpts, yeah, that's the right word, coming from the full text articles that would provide me a higher level of detail to become proper part of my academic work, whether it is a paper, I don't know, a course paper if I'm a student, a slide deck if I'm a lecturer, and so on. I guess in short, that would be main difference coming to the same research piece, finding or answering a research question, but from different direction, from the very detailed or from a very comprehensive level.
Exactly. And to reframe this discussion, we come back to the slide, but more forward-oriented that we discussed in the beginning, that when we have these conceptual work, then Scopus AI can be very supportive. When we are reading and starting analysis, then SDAI will be definitely a partner here. And of course, there are some tasks still on our end. When we need to do our experiments, when we need to write the article, when we need to pass the peer review process in the selected, the highest possible and the most feasible for us journal. We believe that this is something useful, what we have shared today. We are a little bit over time, but we start like a couple of minutes after 11. So there is a space for questions. If you have a questions, please drop. If not, you can always send us your questions via email. Additionally, as a supplement to this slide deck, you will find some links to additional resources, especially some of them we have used already during a presentation, some instance, but if you are interested in, feel free to deep dive in it. Additionally, there are some courses already available online, so you can easily join and use. Especially, I encourage you to check Researcher Academy. And last thing is, if you're interested in getting these solutions into your institutions, please use this link and set up this form. Then we will be able to discuss you in a detail what is a challenge, how you would like to see it, or any other questions during the individual meetings together or separately, depends availability. We mentioned that we will be in the Budapest together in second week of May. If anybody would like to join us, feel free. Do we have questions, Kirill? Last statements from your side, sir?
It doesn't look like we have any questions. Just to mention that next time we are meeting up to talk about a particular set of issues related to the introduction of generative AI in academia, and that is trust. Trust from different perspectives. We're going to talk about the researcher's perspective, publishers, reviewers, research leaders, and so on. Something that brings up a lot of acute questions, I would say, that influence our everyday life and our careers in many ways. Other than that, we don't have any questions, so I would like to thank you very much for spending this hour with us, for your time and attention. We hope that it was useful and inspiring, and we'll look forward to seeing you in our next meetings.
Absolutely. Thank you for being with us Friday, and wishing you energetic weekend. Bye-bye.
Cheers.